Good afternoon. Let's begin the meeting of the Appeals Commission to consider the appeal against the decision of the Dissertation Council of St. Petersburg University 023-18-29-37 on awarding to Natalya Alexeevna Mihalchenkova the degree of Doctor of Political Science in the specialty 23-0002 Political Institute Processes and Technologies, submitted on the 17th of January 2019 by Viktor Vorobyov to the Rector of St. Petersburg University. I would like to warn everyone present that a record of our meeting has been made and it will be posted on the SPBU website. The Appeals Commission, appointed by the Rector of St. Petersburg University, consists of Gnetov Alexander Valentinovich, Academic Secretary of St. Petersburg University, Candidate of Biological Sciences, Chairman of the Appeals Commission; Wolfovich Rebecca Mikhailovna, Professor, Doctor of Political Science, Northwestern Institute of Management of the Russian Academy of National Economy and Public Administration under the President of the Russian Federation; Ishanova Marina Valentinovna, Head of Department of Legal Support of Educational Activities, Legal Department, Candidate of Legal Sciences, St. Petersburg University; Kulakova Tatiana Alexandrovna, Professor, Doctor of Political Science of St. Petersburg University; and myself, Leonid Smorgunov, Professor, Doctor of Philosophy, St. Petersburg University. In connection with the temporary incapacity of Alexander Valentinovich Gnetov, the Academic Secretary of St. Petersburg University, Chairman of the Appeals Commission, I, Leonid Vladimirovich Smorgunov, was appointed Chairman of the Commission by the corresponding order. I would like to inform all present that all those related to this meeting were notified in advance about this meeting and its venue. A meeting of the Appeals Commission shall be deemed competent if at least 2/3 of the approved members of the Commission are present at it. That is, 4 out of 5 members of the Commission are present, so our meeting is competent. Before we get down to work, I would like to put to the Commission's vote the rules of procedure for our work. To discuss the main actions that we will take in the course of our work. In accordance with the requirements of paragraph 45 on the procedure for awarding degrees at St. Petersburg University, approved by the relevant order, I, as the acting chairman of the Appeals Commission, must announce the text of the appeal. After that, that is specified in the procedure for awarding degrees, there should be a discussion in which all those present at the meeting of the Appeals Commission may participate. I propose to limit the duration of the speech of both members of the Appeals Commission and those present to 2 minutes. Moreover, I would like to draw your attention to the fact that discussion should be conducted on the substance of the issue that we are discussing, appeal of a specific thesis, and on the content of the appeal. I would like to draw your attention to the fact that all the speeches shall be made at the central, specially set up microphone, here, as the meeting is being recorded. Please start by giving your name, surname, patronymic, position, academic rank, if any, place of work of all those who will participate in our discussion. Questions shall not be asked according to the regulation. After the discussion is over, the candidate may be given the floor if he or she is present at the meeting. After the discussion, a break will be announced to prepare the conclusion of the Appeals Commission. 4 members of the Commission shall prepare the conclusion. After the break, the draft conclusion shall be read out, and the members of the Appeals Commission shall vote on the draft conclusion. Voting shall be open, and the decision shall be made by a simple majority of the members of the Appeals Commission. I will read out the draft conclusion as the chairman of the Commission. Are there any questions on the regulations? No? No. Then the rules of procedure are adopted unanimously. So, let me read the appeal to the rector of St. Petersburg University, Professor, Doctor of Law, Nikolai Mikhailovich Kropochev, applicant, postgraduate student at the National Research University, High School of Economics, Viktor Viktorovich Vorobyev. Address and email address and telephone number. Dissertation, Natalya Alexeevna Mihalchenkova. Conclusion of the Dissertation Council number 092053X6 on October 26, 2018. Chairman of the Council, Professor, Doctor of Political Science, Kurochkin. Appeal against the decision of the Dissertation Council on awarding the degree of Doctor of Political Science in the specialty 230002 Political Institution, Processes and Technologies on the 19th October 2018. Natalya Alexeevna Mihalchenkova dissertation was defended at St. Petersburg University. She was submitted for the degree of Doctor of Political Sciences, Specialty 230002, Political Institutions, Processes and Technologies on the topic Political Determinants of Public Policy in the Field of Higher Education, the Ratio of Global and National. Based on the results of the defense discussion, the Dissertation Council, consisting of Professor, Doctor of Political Science A.V. Kurochkin, Associate Professor, Doctor of Political Science Volkova, Professor, Doctor of Philosophy Guterov, Professor, Doctor of Law Dorskaya, and Professor, Doctor of Political Science Yerzy Vyatra, decided to award Natalya Mihalchenkova with a degree of Doctor of Political Science in the specialty 230002 Political Institute, Processes and Technologies, as the Dissertation Council issued a conclusion registered on the 22nd of October 2018, number 09205336. I believe that the decision of the Dissertation Council to award Natalya Mihalchenkova with the degree of Doctor of Political Science in Specialty 230002, Political Institution, Processes and Technologies, is unfounded in connection with the following. According to paragraph 9 of the procedure for awarding the degree of Candidate of Sciences, the degree of Doctor of Sciences, and the dissertation for the degree of Doctor of Sciences at St. Petersburg University must meet the criteria established by the government of the Russian Federation in accordance with paragraph 2.1 and paragraph 3 of clause 3, article 4 of the Federal Law of August 23, 1996, number 123 FZ, on science and state scientific and technical policy. Such criteria are established by the government of the Russian Federation in the regulation on awarding of academic degrees approved by a resolution of the government of Russia on the 24th of September 2013, number 842. According to paragraph 9 of the regulations on the awarding of academic degrees, the thesis for the degree of Doctor of Science should be a scientific qualification work which, on the basis of studies carried out by the author, develops theoretical provisions which can be qualified as a scientific achievement, solve a scientific problem of great political, socio-political, cultural, or economic importance, or set out new scientifically based technical, technological, or other solutions, the implementation of which is introduced. According to paragraph 10 of the regulations on awarding the degrees, the thesis must be written by the author himself, have an internal unity, contain new scientific results and provisions for public defense, and testify to the personal contribution of the author of the dissertation in science. The applied nature of the thesis should include information about the practical use of the author of the thesis, of the scientific results obtained by the author, and in the thesis, which has a theoretical nature, recommendations for the use of scientific findings. However, the dissertation of Natalya Mihalchenkova contains neither new theoretical provisions that could be qualified as scientific achievement nor a solution to an essential scientific problem. Similarly, the thesis does not provide information on the use of the scientific results obtained, or no recommendations on the use of scientific findings. Even a cursory study of the text of the dissertation of Mihalchenkova demonstrates that it doesn't meet the established requirements. Thus, in the introduction, the author aims to identify the main political factors influencing public decision-making in higher education in a globalizing world. However, neither the conclusion nor the conclusions for each chapter of the dissertation contain an answer to the research question. The conclusions at the end of each of the 3 chapters of the dissertation represent a set of truisms and stereotypes, not always based on the content of the chapters themselves. The conclusion has little in common with the purpose and objectives of the work. Calling the state policy in the sphere of higher education the object of her research, the author does not analyze any of the policy documents of the national governments of the countries under study, except possibly for Russia, and the list of international legal documents mentioned by the author is quite short. The research methodology, as described by the author in her introduction to the work, also leaves much to be desired. The text in the context of political science, or, to be more precise, what is absent in this text, is well understood in the is well described in the response by Professor Guterov, Doctor of Philosophy, to whom it's difficult to add something in terms of completeness and analysis of the problem. In general, Natalya Mihalchenkova's work is referential and does not include any meaningful analysis of the latest existing studies on the topic, or any information collected by the author herself. The author of this paper is unaware of a large part of modern authoritative comparative studies of the higher education model and state policy in the field of higher education. There are also several circumstances that do not in themselves constitute grounds for granting an appeal, but demonstrate the quality of the dissertation scientific work. In particular, in the introduction, the applicant indicates that the results of the research were presented at international scientific and practical conferences in Voronezh, Syktyvkar, Perm, Tambov, and Ukhta. The degree of internationality, as well as the relationship between the content of these conferences and the subject of the thesis, is clearly visible from their names and venues. At the conferences of the European Community, Researchers of Higher Education, the Association for Research in Higher Education, the Society for Research in Higher Education, the Consortium of Higher Education Researchers, the Russian Association of Higher Education Researchers. The abbreviated names of these organizations are given in parentheses here. The international conferences of higher education reforms and other specialized international conferences. The applicant cannot be found not only among the speakers but also among the listeners. The very fact that the results of the dissertation research were not presented at any of the recognized international conferences is an eloquent evidence to the quality of the work and the participation of the applicant in conferences. The system of professional education in the Komi Republic, yesterday, today, tomorrow, raises doubts in connection with the presentation of the thesis research topic at these conferences. Also, it should be noted that previously the appellate ruling of the Supreme Court of the Republic of Komi, dated April 26, 2018, in case 331/2018, this ruling is attached, established that the candidate dissertation of Natalya Mihalchenkova has incorrect borrowings. This ruling came into force and following Part 2 of Article 13 of the Civil Procedural Code of the Russian Federation is mandatory for all, without exception, public authorities, local state government bodies, public associations, officials, citizens, and organizations. Finally, reviews of the dissertation by Natalya Mihalchenkova, signed by the rector of the Pushkin Leningrad State University, Doctor of Economic Sciences, Professor Yeremeyev, Komi Republican Academy of Public Service and Management, Associate Professor, Doctor of Economic Sciences Fedorova, coincide literally. At the same time, Fedorova was a subordinate of Natalya Mihalchenkova at the time of submitting her review, since the academy entrusted to her was under the jurisdiction of the Ministry of Education, of Science and Youth Policy of the Republic of Komi, which at that time was headed by Natalya Mihalchenkova. However, the main thing I insist on is that Natalya Mihalchenkova's dissertation does not contain any contribution to science that would allow her to claim this academic degree. On the basis of the above, and guided by Section 4 of the procedure for awarding the degree of candidate and Doctor of Sciences at Petersburg University, I ask that the decision of the Dissertation Council to award Natalya Alexeevna Mihalchenkova the degree of Doctor of Political Sciences in specialty 230002 Political Institute Processes and Technologies be cancelled. 17th of January 2019, Viktor Vorobyov, signature. The appellate ruling of the Judicial Collegium for Civil Cases of the Supreme Court of the Republic of Komi, case number 331/2018 on the 17th of April 2017 is attached. And let me look through to the end. No, that's it. Only one appendix. I will allow myself not to read this appendix because I think the members of the Appeals Commission have read this text. Are there any questions about the text I just read? No questions. Okay, let's get down to our discussion. Please note that we are opening the debate on this appeal and we have limited our time to 2 minutes. Anyone present at the meeting, including members of the Appeals Commission, and those present in the room may take the floor. Please, who would like to speak? Let's give the floor to Viktor Viktorovich Vorobyov. This is the right of the Commission members. Dear Leonid Vladimirovich, dear members of the Commission, participants of the meeting, let me introduce myself. My name is Viktor Viktorovich Vorobyov. I am a postgraduate student of the Graduate School of Law of the National Research University of the Higher School of Economics. And if in a less formal way, I'm a researcher of higher education. Today, it seems to me that our meeting is of a precedent set in nature, because for the first time, in accordance with the new procedure, which grants St. Petersburg University the right to award degrees independently without the participation of the Higher Attestation Commission, for the first time, we review and appeal to this procedure. Therefore, it seems to me that today we are considering not only the issue of scientific integrity and solvency of Natalya Alexeevna Mihalchenkova, but also, in a sense, the reputation of this new institute and the extent to which this institute can filter out such dissertations. Generally speaking, the number of dissertations of officials defended with violations has decreased significantly in recent years. But, as we can see, many of those in power still need to defend their dissertations and get a line in their biographies that they have an academic degree. Unfortunately, it seems to me that this was the reason why Natalya Mihalchenkova's thesis was presented for defense, and not because she achieved any significant scientific results. And in fact, it's evident from the text of the thesis. I could probably cite an endless number of examples from the text of the thesis, as well as how to make some unfounded statements without reference to empiricism or scientific research. The same truisms and stereotypes I mentioned in my appeal, but I'm afraid we won't have enough time for that. I want to limit myself to the 2 minutes I've been given. Besides, all the disadvantages of Natalya Alexeevna's dissertation are really well described in the review by Professor Guterov, and it's hard for me to compete with him, his knowledge, his scientific expertise. I think it's enough to join his opinion. Nevertheless, it seems to me, and I believe, that I have enough competence for this analysis, because in general, any graduate student should analyze the existing candidate and doctoral dissertations when writing his work. And we will conduct such an investigation in respect of the thesis on Natalya Alexeevna. It seems to me that the decision should not and cannot claim to be awarded a doctoral degree in political science. Unfortunately, it's, of course, an extensive paper, but except for the volume, I'm afraid it's hard to find anything new in it. Even the size is not new. Therefore, the only thing I can do today is support the arguments of my appeal and continue to insist that the decision of the Decision Council to award Natalya Mihalchenkova with a degree be reversed. Among other things, I would draw the attention of the Appeals Commission to the arguments set out in the end of my appeal. I understand that they do not directly prove or existence or basis of withdrawing the degree, but I think they are they provide indirect evidence of the quality of the scientific work, of the dissertation submitted for defense. The court decision has officially established the fact of plagiarism in Natalya Alexeevna's candidate thesis, and only the limitation period of deprivation of academic degree allowed her to retain her academic degree. That's all I have to say. I have probably already exceeded the 2-minute limit, but I thank the Appeals Commission for allowing me to finish, and thank you for your attention. Thank you. So, who else want to take part in the discussion? Can we speak up? Yes, of course. The members of the Appeals Commission can also speak out. Does anyone want to? Yes. Yes, please, Rebecca Mikhailivna. You can speak from your seat as a member of the Appeals Commission. Dear, so to say, appellant, dear colleagues, dear guests, let's formalize our conversation a little, because a meaningful communication requires demonstration in the text of the dissertation of specific truisms and some other things that have so impressed the appellant. That's my first point. Secondly, today is indeed a precedent-setting meeting. When I defended my doctoral thesis, one of the 3 official reviews of my opponents was negative, and I had to fight for my reputation as a scientist. The same thing had to be done by Natalya Alexeevna Mihalchenkova, as there was a negative response from a deeply respected Professor Guterov. I got acquainted with some sources listed in his vast list of 70 works. I can't say that there are any discoveries have been made there. The list of literature in Mihalchenkova's work is extensive and entirely relevant. Besides, all the researchers know very well that in modern conditions, while the thesis is being written, what we start with becomes obsolete. The amount of material is enormous. That is, if we follow this line, if we are guided by this principle, we will never finish our work. Moreover, the procedure here at St. Petersburg University takes a fairly long time. You have to wait till the commission meets and so on. That is, some ultra-modern works, yes, indeed, possibly were not included, since the work has been completed earlier. I was very surprised by the author's statement that he was briefly acquainted with his these theses, and that he was able to identify all the shortcomings, weaknesses, and so on. Right on the run. It takes considerable time to get acquainted with the multi-page text. The indication of the lack of novelty in this thesis doesn't have any grounds. Several higher educational systems have been analyzed, their peculiarities revealed, and recommendations for the Russian system formulated based on this analysis. The matter is that political science is a science in which, for example, the collection of empirical information, especially regarding educational systems, is practically impossible, because all the results, for example, the introduction of some innovations in the field of education, have a very distant result. I will not take your attention for much longer, but I believe that a lawyer should at least include a list of his works of a political nature. As a researcher of the educational systems, otherwise, I would say his opinions are not too deeply grounded. Thank you. I would like to remind everyone present, and especially the members of the Appeals Commission, that we're discussing the text of the appeal rather than the content of the dissertation. That is, we must decide. There is sufficient reason to resolve the issue on the basis of the text of the appeal in a positive or negative way in terms of the request which is expressed in it. Otherwise, we have to start the defense procedure again, and we can't do that by definition, by the provision that regulates our activities. Therefore, I ask all the participants to adhere to this point, which is related to the work of the Appeals Commission. Please, who else would like to speak? Wait a second. Galina Isakovna is asking for the floor. So she raised her hand earlier. Gribanova Galina Isakovna. Gribanova Galina Isakovna, Doctor of Sociology, Professor of St. Petersburg University. I am the scientific advisor for this thesis. I won't say anything about the quality of the work. If I doubted it, I would never put my signature as a scientific advisor on it. When an appeal is filed, what do I think is the point of the appeal? First, there may be an appeal when the rules of the procedure have been violated. There are no violation of the rules mentioned in this appeal. The second point on which, in my opinion, an appeal can be filed, that's during the period that has passed since the defense of the thesis. Actually, for this purpose, it's hung out, it's posted, and this period of 3 months is being set. Some new circumstances concerning the text of the thesis have opened up. For example, there are some borings that St. Petersburg University anti-plagiarism system was unable to detect, or some other issues that were not known at the time of the defense procedure that give grounds to doubt the merits and work of the author. This is also not the case. In fact, the appeal repeats the same arguments that were made before the defense and which the dissertation board didn't take into account. This is what I wanted to draw attention to. As for the procedure itself, Mr. Vorobyev refers to Professor who's very well respected, Professor Guterov, but probably not less respected, frankly speaking, much better known in the world political science, Professor Jerzy Wiater, former vice president of the International Association of Political Science and Minister of Public Education of the Republic of Poland, rated this thesis very highly. Thank you for your attention. Thank you. Is there anyone else? You asked for the floor. Please. No, we agreed that we shall not ask questions, only speeches. Please, because questions are meaningless. Why is the applicant absent today? At the beginning, I announced that the applicant was informed about the time and venue of the meeting of the Appeals Commission, and it is his right, as well as the right of anyone. She may not be present in accordance with the rules of the procedure. Do we have someone else who would like to take the floor on the content of the appeal and on the request expressed in the appeal? No. No. Then let me announce a break and ask that the record be stopped for the time being to prepare the conclusion of the Appeals Commission. Once the draft conclusion is ready, everyone will be invited to the room. Thank you. Is everyone here? Dear members of the Appeals Commission, dear participants of the meeting, I ask you to be patient. First, I will read out the draft decision of the Appeals Commission, which we are proposing after the discussion, and after that we will vote, and after that I will read out the final decision of the Appeals Commission. The voting shall be open, and in this sense you will be present at the voting. The draft conclusion of the Appeals Commission of the 4th of March 2019, St. Petersburg. The Appeals Commission was appointed by the order of St. Petersburg University of the 6th of February 2019, number 872/1, in connection with the appeal received from Vorobyov, entrance number 0120V152, to the decision of the Dissertation Council of St. Petersburg University 02318-2937 on the 19th of October 2018, on awarding the degree of Doctor of Political Sciences and in specialty 230002 Political Institutes, Processes and Technologies, and Natalya Mihalchenkova, and in accordance with the order of the first Vice Rector on 1st of September 2016, 6821/1, on the order of awarding degrees at St. Petersburg University. In the following composition: Gnetov Alexander Valentinovich, the Academic Secretary of St. Petersburg University, Candidate of Biological Sciences, Chairman of the Appeals Commission. Wolfovich Rebecca Mikhailovna, Professor, Doctor of Political Sciences, Northwest Institute of Management of the Russian Academy of National Economy and Public Administration, under the President of the Russian Federation. Marina Valentinovna Ishanova, Head of the Department of Legal Support of the Educational Activities and Legal Management, Doctor of Legal Sciences, St. Petersburg University. Tatiana Alexandrovna Kulakova, Professor, Doctor of Political Sciences, St. Petersburg University. Leonid Vladimirovich Smorgunov, Professor, Doctor of Philosophy, St. Petersburg University. At the meeting of the Appeals Commission, appointed in accordance with the order of the 7th of February 2019, number 918/1, on the 4th of March 2019 at 3 o'clock, attended by Wolfovich Rebecca, Ishanova Marina Valentinovna, Kulakova Tatiana Alexandrovna, Smorgunov Leonid Vladimirovich. In connection with the temporary incapacity of the Academic Secretary of St. Petersburg University, Gnetov, appointed by the order of the 6th of February 2019, number 872/1, the Chairman of the Appeals Commission, the duties of the Chairman of the Appeals Commission, by the order of the 4th of March 2019, number 1723/1, was assigned to Smorgunov Leonid Vladimirovich. The Appeals Commission considered the appeal against the decision of the Dissertation Council of St. Petersburg University 02318-2937 on awarding to Natalya Alexeevna Mihalchenkova the degree of Doctor of Political Science in the specialty 230002 Political Institute, Processes and Technologies. Entrance number, St. Petersburg University, from the 18th of January 2019, number 012B152, is posted on the website of St. Petersburg University. The address is indicated, submitted on the 17th of January 2019 by Viktor Viktorovich Vorobyov, hereinafter referred to as the appellant, to the rector of St. Petersburg University. On the 19th of October 2018, Natalya Alexeevna Mihalchenkova's dissertation, Political Determinants, State Policy in Higher Education and Global National Relations, specialty 230002 Political Institutions, Processes and Technologies, was defended at St. Petersburg University. The Dissertation Council of St. Petersburg University 02318-2937 decided to award Natalya Mihalchenkova with the degree of Doctor of Political Sciences in specialty 230002 Political Institution, Processes and Technologies. 4 members of the Dissertation Council voted for the positive decision, and 1 voted against it. The conclusion of the Dissertation Council of St. Petersburg University, number 023 1829-37, was posted on the website of the university at the following address. Is given below. It's given below. The applicant believes that the decision of the Dissertation Council on awarding Natalya Mihalchenkova the degree of Doctor of Political Sciences in Specialty 230002, Political Institution, Processes and Technologies, was unfounded, and provides comments and arguments on the basis of which, in his opinion, the dissertation of Natalya Mihalchenkova does not meet the criteria for the thesis for the degree of Doctor of Science established in paragraph 9 of the procedure for awarding degrees of Candidate and Doctor of Science, approved by St. Petersburg University, order number 6821, dated 1st of September 2016, hereinafter referred to as the procedure for awarding academic degrees. In his opinion, there is also a lack of any contribution to science in Natalya Mihalchenkova's dissertation which would allow to claim a corresponding degree. However, the text of the appeal does not contain any arguments in respect of violation the procedure for submission to the defense and defense of the thesis, in respect of violation of the requirements to the applicants for a degree established by the procedure, as well as in respect of violation of the regulation on the Council for the Defense of the Thesis for the degree of Candidate of Science. The appellant requests to cancel the decision of the Dissertation Council of St. Petersburg University number 023-1823-37 on awarding Natalya Mihalchenkova the degree of Doctor of Political Sciences in Specialty 230002, Political Institutes, Processes and Technologies. The Appeals Commission, following the results of the study of the text of the appeal, results of the discussion and exchange of views of those present during the meeting of the Commission, considers it possible to say the following. In accordance with paragraph 3.1 of Article 4 of the Federal Law, the 23rd of August 1996, number 123FZ, on science and state scientific and technical policy, St. Petersburg University has the right to independently create on its basis councils for defense of dissertations for the degree of Candidate and Doctor of Science, to determine and change the composition of these councils, to establish the powers of these councils, to determine the list of scientific specialties on which these councils are entitled to accept dissertations for defense, and to control activities of these councils, to suspend, resume, and terminate their activities. Establish the procedure for awarding degrees, including the criteria that should be met by the thesis for the degree, the procedure for submitting a thesis for a degree, the order of deprivation, the restoration, and consideration of appeals. To approve the provisions of the Council on the defense of dissertations for the degree of Candidate and Doctor of Sciences, the forms of diplomas on academic degrees, technical requirements to such documents, the order of their registration and issuance, the rules for awarding the degree of Candidate and Doctor of Sciences, the criteria to be met by the thesis for the degree, the order of submission and defense of the thesis, the order of withdrawal and restoration of academic degrees, of consideration of appeals established by the procedure for awarding the degrees at St. Petersburg University, approved by Order 6821/1 of the 1st of September 2016, hereinafter referred to as the procedure. According to paragraph 38 of the order, the decision of the Dissertation Board on the issue of awarding a degree to an organization or a degree applicant or any other person may appeal to the rector of St. Petersburg University within 90 days from the date of such a decision of the Dissertation Board of the University, in terms of violation of the procedure for submission for defense and defense of the thesis established by the order, in terms of violation of requirements for applicants for a degree established by the order, as well in terms of violation of provisions of the Council on the defense of dissertation for the degree of a candidate. In accordance with paragraph 47 of the procedure, the decision on satisfaction or dissatisfaction with appeals is made by the rector of St. Petersburg University or his authorized officer, based on a conclusion of the appeals commission. In the absence of arguments in the text of the appeal in terms of violation of the order of submission to defense and defense of the thesis, in terms of violation of the requirements for applicants for a degree established by the order, as well as in terms of violation of the provisions of the Council on defense of the thesis for a degree of candidate of sciences and doctor of sciences. The Appeals Commission concludes that there are no grounds to satisfy the appeal of the appellant. In view of the above, the Appeals Commission recommends to the rector or his official authorized by him to refuse Viktor Viktorovich Vorobyev in satisfaction of his appeal entrance number of St. Petersburg University of the 1st of January 2019, number 0120B or B152. Resume the procedure of issuing the PhD diploma to N.A. Mihalchenkova. Dear members of the Appeals Commission, do you have any comments to the draft decision, additions or amendments? No. No. Are there any dissenting opinions of the members of the Appeals Commission that should be included in the draft decision? No. No. No special opinions. Then let's start voting. Wolfovich, Rebecca Mikhailovna, what's your opinion? Refuse. Refuse 4. Ishanova Marina Valentinovna for the draft conclusion. Tatiana Alexandrovna Kulakova. I vote for the proposed draft conclusion. Smorgonov Leonid Vladimirovich for the proposed draft conclusion. Nobody insists on any. Does anyone insist on any additions or changes? No. No. Then is adopted by the absolute majority of votes. I read out again the conclusion of the Appeals Commission. The City of St. Petersburg, dated March 4, 2019. Let's read only the results. Only the results. You don't insist, do you? Someone insists that? No. Then, does anyone insist? No. Then I'll read the results only. Because of the absence of arguments in the text of the appeal in the part of violation of the order of submission or defense or of violation of the requirements to the applicants for a degree established by the order, or of violation of the regulation on the Council for the defense of the thesis for the degree of candidate and doctor of science, the Appeals Commission concludes that there are no grounds for satisfaction of the appeal of the appellant. In view of the above, the Appeals Commission recommends to the rector or his authorized officer to deny Viktor Viktorovich Vorobyev in satisfaction of his appeal. Admission number of St. Petersburg University from 18th of January 2019, number 0120B 152. Resume the procedure of issuing the PhD diploma to Natalya Mihalchenkova in accordance with paragraph 46 of the procedure for awarding of academic degrees. This conclusion was adopted by open vote of 4. Dear attendees, dear members of the Appeals Commission, do we have any questions or comments related to our meeting? Or the procedure of our meeting? No? Then I declare the meeting of the Appeals Commission closed. Thank you. I thank all members of the Commission.